massive hits. Tenterfield Saddler, I Still Call Australia Home, and the song that everybody knows best, which do you ever get tired of singing that song, Chong? You know, that one. Do you ever get tired of singing this?
When my baby smiles at me, I go to Rio de Janeiro, Miami, I go out and then I have to do the samba and la bomba. Now I'm not the kind of person you nervous, passion and persuasion. For dance, I'm coming to get you, for romancing. But I give it to the rhythm and my feet follow the beat of my heart.
They're building a library for him. But time is a traveler, Tenterfield Saddler, turn your head. Right again, Jackaroo, think I see kangaroo up ahead. The son of George Walnut.
And guys, I'm joined by Todd McKenney, the man himself. How are you, Todd?
I'm good, Jason. How are you?
I'm very well, mate. Very well. It's a bit of a different time at the moment for us all, though. But other than that, I'm going all right. What about you?
Well, to be honest, I've had good days and bad days through this whole thing. And some days I feel very motivated to, get out and work on new stuff. And then other days I just feel like staying in my slippers all day.
Yeah,
and,
fair enough, mate.
I think my dogs are probably going to take a restraining order out on me soon because I've given them so much love.
Yeah.
they're looking at me going, stay away from me.
They're a bloody great friend, though, aren't they? Dogs.
Yeah, they are. They are. I've got 2 old greyhounds, and they're just the most beautiful dogs. But because I go on tour a lot, I don't actually take them with me, and so they spend a lot of time with their dog sitter. And so this is the most amount of time I think I've spent with them in a long time, and they're loving it, and I'm loving it too. They're beautiful.
Yeah, that's great, mate. That's great. Yeah, but as I said, Todd, there's a lot happening at the moment with COVID-19. There's been a lot of businesses affected by this. Music industry, entertainment industry, like ourselves. I think it's a hard time for many people. And what about yourself, mate? You were obviously working on shows and so forth when all this hit, yeah?
So I was halfway through our season of Shrek, the musical. We'd done our Sydney season. We were halfway through Melbourne, and then we had another half of Melbourne and Brisbane to go when we just saw the writing on the wall and knew that we were going to be locked down. The whole industry, the whole world, really. So that's been, a bit challenging in many ways because you need a bit of closure to a show. So we sort of left the show one night and really didn't get to say goodbye to each other. And that's been a bit odd, and we were in this massive hit. The audiences loved it. It was a huge crowd pleaser of a show. And I'm just really sorry for the people that didn't get to see it, and the major Shrek fans and the musical theatre fans and stuff. But, I've got another life, fortunately, with Channel 7. So that has continued because with that sort of stuff, we can do pre-production and, work on shows that when everything gets lifted, we can go straight into production. But, of course, theatre can't do that. So once we get lifted, the bands get lifted, and they say, let's go, let's open restaurants, let's open cafes and all of that. Well, theatrical producers have to cast shows, rehearse shows, promote shows, and sell tickets. And so I reckon we're a long way out from rebooting in our industry. And to be honest with you, it feels to me like the arts, which is a huge contributor to the economy in Australia, like it's one of the second largest bigger contributor to the economy. It feels like we're getting kind of forgotten about in the national chat. And so I hope I start to hear the arts ministers, start instilling confidence back into the people, back into the arts industry to get people's mindset used to going. I mean, we've heard a lot about football and everyone's getting used to going back to the football now, which is great because it gives them confidence. But I'd love to hear the same chat about the arts.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. And, I don't want to, and I've said this to a few people before, I don't want it to make out as if, I'm crying, during this time over the entertainment industry only. But I think our business is going to be the last to actually get back on track. I really do.
Well, it really is for all those reasons. And then we have to sell tickets to, a public who are going to want to be comfortable buying the tickets. So and I mean, I don't want to get too political, but it's made me realize just how passionate I am about our industry and how proud I am that we are that passionate as a group of people. And somebody posted on Facebook right at the beginning of the pandemic, don't forget about us guys, because, we're the ones that are always jumping with our hands up to do charities when the bushfire appeal needs to happen, when the telethons need to happen. We're there. We're always there willingly and lovingly for nothing. And we just give it back to Australia. And so, it'd be nice to be included in the national chat. I'll get off my soapbox now.
No, I agree though, mate. What are you looking forward to the most? I mean, things are starting to lift quite a lot now, which is great. And it's good to see some positivity coming. And what are you missing the most about, everything, mate? You've been in lockdown. We've been in isolation. We're starting to be able to freedom a bit. And I mean, I'm missing performing and I guess you are too.
Same. That live performance thing is just, it's what drives me. But, even bigger than that, I've realized that most of my social interaction is my work colleagues, my work friends, my work colleagues, the audiences you meet after the shows. And that's what I've missed the most. And just having that, spontaneity to catch up with cast members before the show starts, to go and have dinner before you start warm up and getting ready for the show. That's my social interaction. And I didn't realize how few friends I've actually got outside my work industry. It's like,
amazing.
Oh my God. It really is. And for me, my days consist of getting up, and I'm an early riser. I normally get up about 6. I take the dogs to the dog park. So I've got this group of sort of 15 to 20 people that I see every morning for an hour at the dog park, random strangers that I've now become friends with over the years. But then after that, it's all about work and work colleagues. And so I just want to see my friends in the flesh on a regular basis, and also just be able to ring them up and go, let's grab a quick coffee and all of that. That's what I've realized that I do a lot more of than I thought I did. Just jumping into the cafe and having quick sushi or whatever. So I'm looking forward to this, getting the spontaneity back.
Yeah, good on you, mate. Well, I think the way things are going, it won't be long, Todd.
No, how have you been? Have you been creative? Have you felt creative? Because I know we often work under a pressure cooker, of deadlines. You've got your theatre book, your venue book, put your show together. But I would have thought, having all this extra time on my hands, I'd be really creative and have the luxury of, of putting these things together with time. But I found that really difficult.
So have I.
Getting out of my pajamas is really difficult on Sunday.
Yeah, mate. I struggled for the first week, and then I thought, what am I going to do? Go on for months and months, and I'm like, what can I do? I had a tour booked. We've had to cancel all the dates. And if I don't do something, I'm not going to get booked when I come back out at the end of this, because at the end of the day, we're all in the same boat.
It's
so
true. And the other thing too is that
yeah.
once you want to get back up and back into it, because I love doing my one-man shows as well around the traps, but all you buggers are all going to be lined up to get into my venues before me. So at some point,
and all you buggers will be lined up to get into the venues before us.
Hey, Jason, I'll race you for it.
Yeah, done. Yeah, but it's true, mate.
It's true.
It's going to be a really hardcore flooded market out there, I think, once this is all finished. So it's going to be difficult for everybody, but everyone's going to be in the same boat. They really are. And for me, I just started this online chat and just thought I'd reach out to a few friends here and there. And next thing you know, I'm talking to people that I've never met, like yourself. I haven't met you before, I don't think, Todd. I don't think we've actually ever met. And it's great. I know, right? But it's great.
I actually Googled you. I had to Google you when you approached me. And then as soon as I saw your face, I knew exactly who you were. But it's but isn't that funny though? That's kind of another flip side to this whole thing. I know from my street, I live in a suburban street in Pymble in New South Wales, and I have met people. It's like the Pitt Street Mall. My street is normally completely quiet, but it's like it's peak hour. People walking dogs, riding bikes, playing with the kids, old people walking around, talking to each other, and I'm doing the same. I've met so many people I would never have spoken to except for this pandemic. And so in a way, there are little things like that which I'm really appreciative of.
Yeah, that's great, mate. That's great. But Todd, you've had a huge career. Like you've done everything from television to dancing to singing to acting to you name it. You've done it all, and it's great. It's amazing to watch, mate, and incredible. And I wanted to ask you, how, like, when you first started getting in the entertainment scene, like, so you started dancing, is that correct? So you started off as a kid dancing?
Yeah, my mum was a dancing teacher and had a dancing school in Perth. So I suppose, rather than get me a babysitter, she sort of just stuck me in the back of the studio when I was 3 and started, jigging around. And then that just kind of grew and got more serious and more serious. And I loved it. My grandmother was a dancing teacher as well. She used to teach Highland dancing. So we've got a long history of it in the family. And I always had the luxury of always knowing what I wanted to do with my life. And so I've watched other friends of mine, leave school and kind of not know where they're going to go, but I've never had that. I've always just had a passion for it. And so I'm really making a career sort of out of my childhood hobby, which has been an absolute godsend.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, mate. Like, I was having a look earlier, and obviously I know you from Dancing with the Stars and that because I'm a lot younger. And, I remember watching on Dancing with the Stars and that, and I remember saying, God, he's a cranky old bastard. This bloke.
My mum used to say that. My mum would ring me at the end of each show and go, what the hell did you say that for? And I go, oh, Mum, come on, lighten up.
Yeah, but you know what you're doing, Todd, and that's what everyone appreciated with it. You know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about when it comes to that type of stuff. I'm just glad it
not
wasn't
always.
now, and I'm just glad I didn't get asked to go on there.
It's never too late, Jason. It's never too late.
No, mate, it's good. And like the boy from Oz, mate, Peter Allen, you struck a massive amount of fame, going out doing the Peter Allen, the musical, The Boy from Oz. It's done over 1,000 shows, Todd.
Yeah, it ran for nearly 3 years the first time, and then we had a 10-year break, and then we did another 300-400 shows for the production company in Melbourne. And it's just the audience, I don't know, the general public just took it to heart. And it's, I remember the producer coming to me at the end of the wrap-up, wrapping the whole thing up, and said that 1.3 million people saw it in that first season, and it took $60 million at the box office. And that's an accolade to Peter Allen, really, at the end of the day, and to the producers who put The Boy from Oz on, because Australia loved Peter Allen. And it's funny, and I was a big Peter Allen fan, and I met Peter Allen quite a few times. And because I was such a big fan, I was really hesitant of actually taking the role, because I thought, I don't feel like Peter Allen. I'm not really Peter Allen. And I thought if this fails and I'm like the figurehead of this new production, then what's that going to do to my career and all of that sort of stuff. But they got my manager and Gail Edwards, the director, literally talked me into it, because it completely changed my life and taught me to talk to an audience apart from anything else, which is now what I do every day. And it taught me to sing, and it taught me to drive a show and how to be the figurehead of a show. I got so many lessons out of it, which I'll use for the rest of my life. So, and I loved the songs. I still put Peter Allen on. I've still got him on Spotify, and if I'm doing my makeup before Shrek, often he'll come on. And so it was a really cozy fit for me in the end.
It's incredible, mate. Honestly, it's amazing, and it's the longest running and most successful production in Australian history. I read, Todd. That's huge.
It really sort of set the standard. That stat is about an Australian musical, and it's because before that we kind of just kept bringing our musicals in from overseas, and the success of The Boy from Oz really gave producers in the country the confidence to put on Australian stories. And then Shout with David Campbell, the Johnny O'Keefe story, was the next big success, and it's just kind of gone from there. So it's great that Australian musical stories are now being told.
Oh, mate, it's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
I picked a good one. I picked a good one to be in.
Oh, mate, it's great, and people love you. They love you for it, and you've had such an incredible career.
How old were you in 1998? Were you about 5 or 6 or something?
4.
Oh, not even 5.
I was.
For that.
Yeah.
That hurt.
So that's when it was 1990. Sorry, mate, you asked. So was it not 1998? Was it?
Don't ask. Yeah, 1998 to about 2001, 2002. Yeah.
Wow, that's phenomenal, mate. And like from dancing, then going into the theatre and singing and all that, like the theatre productions, and then all of a sudden you're on television. Is that how that come across off the back of all that?
Yeah, so I think without the
Yeah.
success of The Boy from Oz, none of that would have happened. And because I did have a legitimate ballroom dancing background, so when I was growing up, I was, champion ballroom dancer with my partner, and we went to England a few times and danced for Australia and stuff. So when that role on Dancing with the Stars came up, it was another great fit for me because I knew the world. I achieved success in ballroom dancing internationally, and I also know what it's like to put on a show, So I get showbiz, and so sitting at that judging panel with Helen and Mark and Paul Mercurio, I kind of knew where I fitted in.
Yeah, mate, that's great.
Yeah, it's been fun, and I've loved it. We did 16 series, and 12 years we were on that show. It's now moved to Channel 10, and I'm with 7, so I'm not on it anymore, but I never got sick of it. I always loved it. No one actually killed me, although they threatened to on numerous occasions.
Yeah.
Nikki Webster still talks to me, so I'm all right.
That's great, mate. And one of the biggest ones that I love, and I have seen a lot of, and I wanted to speak to you about now as well, was like the real Monty and all new Monty guys and girls and the ladies' night. I mean, that is phenomenal. What you guys do, raising cancer awareness.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that. That must be amazing to be a part of too, Todd.
That's one of the best things I've ever been a part of. So the Real Full Monty was a concept first constructed by the BBC in England to raise awareness for men to go and get themselves checked, because men all over the country are dying from prostate, testicular, bowel cancer just because they won't go and get checked. And so they wanted to put this kind of entertaining format together that would entertain men and maybe get them to think about going and getting themselves checked. It was a massive success. And then when we put it on here with Shane Jacobson and myself, it literally saved lives. And so teaching 8 celebrities from all walks of life to strip down to nothing in front of a full theatre on the final episode, it's a daunting challenge. But I've had numerous people contact me and stop me in the streets, telling me their stories about, one lady said her son was watching the show with her. At the end of the show, the son turned to the mum and said, "Oh, now's probably a good time to tell you I haven't been able to wee properly for the last 3 weeks." Anyway, he went into hospital and got diagnosed straight away with testicular cancer, and was operated on a few days later. Another lady stopped me at Woolies in Melbourne, in the city, and said I was watching that with my husband and I made him go and get checked, and he had bowel cancer. So it's not often that you do a show which is fun and funny. You get to work with Shane Jacobson, which is hilarious, and it actually saves lives. And and I get to work with people in their underwear all day every day. I don't know, that's not always a good thing, by the way.
Mate, it's phenomenal though, Todd. That's phenomenal. Like,
it's really great. And then we did, we did the girls one after that, and the ladies' night, and we had exactly the same reaction. We got flooded with people telling us their stories because they watched the show. So that's a really good. So hopefully we'll do a few more of those to keep Australia healthy.
Yeah, we'd love to see it back on our screens, mate. It's phenomenal, and it's great to hear that it's making such a difference. Because I think from us at home, like, we don't get to see and hear what you guys see, Like to hear it from yourself about how many lives it's saving and creating much awareness.
Shane Jacobson literally got over 100 emails of people telling their stories, and we met him and I together. Were contacted by this guy in Melbourne, and we flew down to Melbourne and to meet this man who was an elderly guy who was literally crying to us, saying unless he had watched our show and prompted himself to go and get checked, that he wouldn't be alive and he wouldn't have got to see his granddaughter. And as he talked about that, he cried. We're all sitting there crying. So it makes me feel really proud to be involved in that.
Yeah, good on you, mate. Absolutely, it would. It would, Todd. Todd, at the end of every chat I have, mate, I have a little thing called curious questions that I like to ask, and it's for people at home watching, right? So the first question I'd like to ask, mate, how have you been able to maintain motivation during isolation? And if so, how have you done it?
Yes and no, mainly no. I've had to really get a handle on technology, how to work on technology, but I have been motivated to getting in much more contact with my dogs and also with my garden. So that's been a good thing. being creative about putting on shows and stuff, I've found a little harder.
Yeah. Yeah, you do, mate. You do.
Here's one of my
Absolutely.
dogs now.
Oh,
Can you see him?
yep.
Oh, hang on. Oh, can you
Not
see
yet.
him?
No. Oh, there he is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Joey. So he's 14.
Hey, Joey.
So he's
Joey.
a rescue greyhound. He's beautiful. I've had him
Great.
since he was 2. Yeah.
Beautiful, mate. They're lovely. Dogs are
Greyhounds are
such
beautiful.
good friends.
Yeah, they're loyal. You know that. Yeah, they're really great. And greyhounds have, you know, they there's so many of them looking for homes, and so I'm so lucky to be with them.
Good on you, mate. Absolutely. Mate, who's your biggest inspiration, Todd?
Oh, my biggest inspiration. Well, do you know what? Anybody who's positive in the industry,
Yep.
who stays positive, like Marsha Hines, I love. Marsha Hines
Yep.
is one of the most positive, upbeat, productive people I've ever met, and she inspires me a lot. She inspires me to be kind. She inspires me to think about others. She inspires me to be tough, and she inspires me to tell dirty jokes. She's
Great.
naughty, but that's why I love her.
Yeah, why not, mate? Bloody oath. Todd, what would you say your biggest highlight would be thus far in your career, mate? I mean, you've had so many, but is there one that sticks out to you?
Yeah. The opening night of The Boy from Oz was really the moment that I jumped off a cliff and flew, and I'll be forever grateful for it.
Good on you, mate. That would have been spectacular.
Yeah, I was,
I
was shitting myself, to be honest.
Yeah, you would have been, absolutely. I can imagine.
I was so scared. I didn't know
But
what was
but
going to
to
happen.
think, yeah, but to think now that it's the most successful theatre production that's ever been run, over 1,000 shows, it just must be mind-blowing.
Yeah, it was great to be a part of it. It was great to be a part of something new from scratch. I mean, we didn't have a script. We had a loose script, but it just grew, and it's become part of the culture, the folklore of Australian theatre, and I feel incredibly proud to have been part of that.
Good on you, mate. Great. And the last one for people at home, they love this question, mate. Who would be one of the most interesting celebrities you've ever met, Todd? And what made them interesting?
Oh, God. Mark Holden was pretty interesting on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
Because he was a bit of a loose cannon, and we never really knew what he was going to get up to or do. And there's something about him that I found intriguing. In a kind of odd way. I didn't know. It was really, he used to make me a bit nervous watching him, but I like that. I like that because he wasn't safe. I can't do vanilla.
Yeah.
I'm not into vanilla, but he certainly wasn't vanilla. I don't know what he was.
Yeah.
He was licorice. So
well, there you go. Okay, unreal, mate. No, Todd, look, thanks so much, mate, for your time, for coming on for a yarn. I really appreciate it. It's
my pleasure, Jason.
It's great to have you on, and yeah, mate, all the best with everything, in the coming months, and we look forward to seeing you back on our TV screens and in the theatres again as soon as possible. So
same to you, and I'll race you to the theatre tour. I'll race to get those bookings in before you do.
Good on you, mate. You're a legend. Thanks, Todd.
I'll be your warm-up act. How's that?
Yeah. Oh, I think I'd be yours.
Hey, mate. Thank you for asking me.
Good on you, buddy. Thank you.
See ya.